What up, everybody? How you doing? Hope you guys had a great new year. Here's the first week in January, and we are already rolling. I hope to have a lot of fun with you guys. To my elite members, we're going to have a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun. We're going to get in depth. We're going to get in depth. We're going to get into all the details this year, all the details. The details matter. We're going to break it down. We're going to get into all the details. In this video, we're going to talk about EQ. Let's get into it. So I got a request from one of our elite members to go in depth about EQ, particularly using the Pro EQ in Studio One. And so I wanted to do that. And originally I was going to make it a personal tutorial video for him, but I thought, you know what, let me take some of these requests and actually put them up on the site, because everyone needs to know this, and that way you guys aren't using up your personal tutorials requests for things that everyone should know. All right, so for any good sounding mix, any song, any good sound, you're going to be using some sort of EQ. Okay, there's no way you're going to mix without EQ. It just doesn't happen. EQ is one of the foundational attributes of a good mix. All right, so there's no such thing as a good mix without EQ. So we got a lot of people posting their music, or a lot of people shopping their music and posting their music and putting up beats and stuff on Instagram, and the stuff isn't EQ'd, so it doesn't sound clean. It sounds extremely dirty, extremely muffled, muddy, all of that kind of stuff, and that is all attributed to a lack of EQ. So let me bring up a graphic EQ, and that way you'll be able to see the difference between a graphic EQ and a parametric EQ. Okay, I'll be able to show you guys this. So a graphic EQ, all right, we can just do something like this. A graphic EQ looks something like this, whether it be hardware or software. It looks something like this. Okay, the main differences between graphic EQ and parametric EQ are the fixed value. Now this here is a serious multi-band EQ. Okay, so it's a lot of bands going here. Okay, you know, 25 hertz, 31 hertz, 40, 50, 63. It's a huge graphic EQ. There are some that are 3-band, 4-band, 5-band, 6-band EQ, and they are fixed numbers here. And so, you know, the thing that makes this particular EQ effective is because there are so many bands to deal with. With parametric EQ, you get to choose the bands you're dealing with. Graphic EQ, it's basically fixed along the way. This is 100 hertz that I'm moving right here. If I wanted to say I need to get into the 103 to 107 range, I can't do that because this is fixed on 100 hertz. Okay, the other difference is that if I boost or cut this 100 hertz, it affects everything above. It affects the curve above 100 hertz and below, meaning that anything between 180 is going to be affected. See, here's 80 right here. 80 is, see how 80 comes down right here? That means 80 is already down, right? This is 80. I'll bring this back to 0. This is 80 hertz right here. Now watch what happens to this 80 hertz boost when I pull this 100 hertz down. See how it goes down too? So it ends up affecting that. You can't change how that's affected. In a parametric EQ, you can. Okay, so that's the difference. Parametric EQ allows you to really get into the intricacies of a certain frequency and dial in the tone that you really, really need, or dial out the tone that you really need out. So a lot of people use the graphic EQ specifically for, fine tuning, mastering a certain thing. Sometimes I'll use it when I just need to like actually just grab a frequency and pull it out, that I know is, and I'm not really dealing with, worrying about the effect of it on the other curves. Okay. So that's one of the main differences. Those are the differences between graphic EQ, parametric. This is a parametric EQ. Okay. This doesn't look, it doesn't look as, like it doesn't look like it deals with that many hertz as as graphic EQ, but believe it or not, it really does. 7-band. This is a 7-band parametric EQ. Okay. Now the thing that I enjoy about parametric EQ, specifically this Pro EQ, and I'll tell you what each and everything means. So let's deal with the low frequency here. Low frequency gain. Let's gain up the low frequency. So this is the frequency here is 110. Okay, this frequency is 110. Now it's affecting these curves here just like the last graphic EQ, right? But you can take this Q button, or the Q stands for quotient. This determines how much of the other frequencies are affected by this boost. Okay, so if I begin to turn this up, you'll see the other frequencies become less and less affected until there's nothing affected except this 110 hertz. Okay, that's the dope part about, sorry, I'm a little old school, but that's the dope part about Pro EQ, about not only Pro EQ, but a parametric EQ. It allows you to seriously dial in and dial out that specific tone. Okay, now what this knob does is this changes the frequency which is affected. Okay, the Q determines how much of frequencies around the central frequency is affected, but the frequency knob determines which frequency is affected. So if I said I wanted this to be, 500 hertz, 600 hertz, 539, we'll go there, and we want to cut it. Boom, there's that cut. So now the next frequency here, which is the low mid frequency, this is this yellow knob here. If I wanted to take this down to 451 and boost 451, just 451, I turn this quotient knob up. Watch this. Boom. That's just 451 hertz. That's just that particular hertz affected. Okay. If I wanted to spread the effect out a little bit more, I would pull the Q knob back or open it up, and then you would see I begin to affect other frequencies. See there? Now, the reason why you would use this knob, you know what? It's best if I just demonstrate it to you. Okay. So I got this rock track here that I did for a client, and I'm going to just focus on the drums because that's really where you're going to see the biggest difference. So the drums, I'll play the drums for you. There are no effects on the drums. I've muted the room effect and the verb effect. We'll bring those in later so you can, hear it in its perspective and how I used it. But let's just play these drums and I'll show you exactly what I'm up to and show you how the EQ can affect it. I'm using some drums from a plugin. This plugin is called the Perfect Drums. It's called Perfect Drums. They're pretty good, but they're very rock metal oriented. Everything is real straight ahead, but they sound really good. However, even some pre-processed plugins need extra processing to fit in your particular mix. Ergo, I did EQ and compression, mainly on the kick, snare, and toms, and some EQ on the hi-hat and what have you. So I'm going to play this, and I'm going to show you what I mean with this, with the EQ on the kick drum. Okay, so now I'm going to solo the kick. Now, it sounds good by itself. It sounds good. Now let me show you. Let's bring this down. So let's boost it. Here's the thing. The thing that I love about the Pro EQ is that it's already showing you what frequencies are involved in this particular track. Okay, so it's hitting it from 50 to maybe about 150 hertz. Then it starts sloping down around 200. And then it starts boosting back up around 1K and 2K, and to give it definition. So you can already see that there. But let's say we want to just mess around. Let's mess around with this so I can show you how it's affected. All right, this is 100 hertz. Now I'm going to boost this. The quotient knob is all the way back. Okay, so you're gonna see a lot of other EQ, other frequencies affected by this boost. Watch this. You hear that? Now watch what happens when I turn this Q knob up. See how it dials that tone right in? You dial that specific frequency in. That's what's great about it. You dial in that frequency that you're looking for. It's like there's a certain knock that I'm looking for out of the drums, and it enables you to find the area that you're looking for. So let's say there's a frequency that I'm looking for to get out or to take away from the kit or from the kick. I can take this frequency knob and sweep through and find what I'm looking for. You hear that? I'm sweeping so I can find the frequency, and let's say, oh, it's that frequency right there is killing me. That's what I'm hearing. I'll dial it in a little bit more and then take it right out. See what I mean? It allows you to really hone in and sculpt your tone exactly the way you want it. So that's one of the great things about a parametric EQ. It lets you sweep, find those frequencies that are bothering you, and take them right out. Because a lot of us, our ears aren't trained to hear frequencies right away, hear bad frequencies right away, or to identify bad frequencies right away. So it takes us a minute. And that's the dope part about parametric EQs. You can do a sweep and find it, and there and away you go. Okay, so let's get into what I did with these drums.